How you doing today, Jose?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead with your question, Jose.
Okay. I have a 1997 Dodge Ram 1500 pickup truck, and it's got 232,000 miles on it, but it runs like a Swiss watch. However, I've noticed my brakes are almost gone, and the brake fluid is obviously it's nasty, it's bad. But I have a hissing sound, a real hissing sound in the cabin. I'm thinking that it's probably the booster pump. So does that make sense to you?
Yeah, well, Jose, what you've got going on, if you hear a hissing, that means that the brake booster itself has got a tear. See, there's a rubber diaphragm inside that booster that your master cylinder bolts to, and
yes,
when that diaphragm gets a hole in it, from, in your case, being a 97, it's probably dry rotted, and the rubber has actually got a hole in it, and when you hit the brakes, what you're hearing is the engine vacuum that's leaking out of it, and that'll make you have a really lousy brake pedal. Now, your best bet in a case like this, over time, the master cylinder, your brake master cylinder, will leak a little bit of brake fluid down into that booster. And that brake fluid getting on that rubber diaphragm, that can cause it to fail and go bad as well. So I always tell folks, listen, if that master cylinder is as old as the booster, you need to replace both of them. Go ahead and replace the booster and put a new master cylinder on it. Then bleed the brakes out real good, and then you'll be back in business with a full brake pedal, and it'll stop like it's supposed to. But anytime you hear that hissing noise when you hit your brake pedal, that means that brake booster has failed, and you need to get that remedied as soon as possible. And I actually do not recommend driving a vehicle with a defective brake booster like that. It can get to the point where something can, it can become so hard that you actually can't depress the brakes. So be very, very careful with it if you drive it at all, because that's almost like not driving with brakes, period. And when you put the new master cylinder on there, I also suggest going around and bleeding all four wheels. You've probably got some old brake fluid laying in those lines, that needs to be flushed out of there. So you want to go ahead and run a lot of brake fluid through there. We suggest usually using a vacuum bleeder if you're doing it yourself. That way you just put the vacuum bleeder on each one of your bleeder valves on your rear wheels. You pull brake fluid through it until you get good clear brake fluid out of it on both your rear wheels. Then go to the fronts, do the same thing. Make sure you got good clear brake fluid coming out of all four brake bleeders, and then that ought to have you in pretty good shape, Jose. You get your power brakes back, get your brake system clean, and get you a full power brake pedal back, and you're safe back on the road. We appreciate your call.